Hi there, I'm Wyden, the CEO of Spatial, and our data powers companies to help you navigate like a local anywhere in the world. It was about 2 years ago today that I was on a trip to Nashville, and I was excited to explore the city. When I got there, I realized that my house was sandwiched in between a broken down factory and a sleazy strip club. Literally the last place that I wanted to be. The issue here is that there's no way to tell what an area is like until you get there, and by then, it's already too late. So we resort to this. First we're on Google, then we're here, 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 then we're here. All of a sudden, we have 16 tabs open after hours of research. We're more confused and less informed. Our company was started on the fundamental insight that over every city, there's an invisible layer of social data that's pouring out every minute, every second, every hour. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Flickr, Foursquare. We asked ourselves, why with all this social data, can we not ask a simple question and get a simple answer? And that's why we created Spatial. It's the world's first layer of social data around cities that answers questions only a local would know. Questions like this. Okay, so we're in Detroit. Let's see the foodie areas of the city. All right? Let's see the artsy areas. How about an artsy coffee shop? Great Lakes Coffee Company. I really like that place, by the way. Let's see the nightlife on a Thursday near a dance event. 2016 Detroit City Dance Festival. I know there's some families out here in the crowd, so let's try this. I'm with my family. Let's see the educational events that are happening tonight. Hellenic Museum of Michigan has something going on. That's pretty cool, right? But this gets even cooler when you can access spatial data using just your voice and can understand the world around you in a split second. Let's do something that's relevant to us tonight after this event. All right. Hey Alexa, show me the bars with sunset views near the water.
Coach Insignia is by water and has great sunset views. Would you like me to route you there?
Okay, so if you're local, if you know this area, you know that is at the top of the GM Tower. What once took hours of research, we just did in seconds. How do we pull this off? For the first time, we're combining social science like anthropology and ethnography together with data science. We use these two as a lens to cut through 31 different sources of social data and push it live over hundreds of cities every minute, every second, every hour. And we give companies access to this data directly through an API. We have an industry-standard location intelligence business model where we charge recurring revenue for access to our data. And companies have been asking a lot of location questions. In fact, since we started, we found out that companies from travel to real estate, automotive to urban planning, they're all asking the same fundamental question that I had in Nashville. What is this area like? And that's why in 9 months since starting this company, we've now brought on 12 companies that are using spatial data to answer location questions. So when we moved here, when we came to the Motor City, we came because we had a vision for the automotive and mobility industry. We imagined a world where even in your vehicles, you can navigate like a local and know exactly what's going on around you. And I am proud to announce today that we are partnering with the Ford Motor Company to make that vision a reality. Thank you. Thank you. And this is the team that's making it happen. We have got the software engineers from Garmin Maps, the data engineers from GE Aviation, and the social scientists that lived in cities for weeks and months at a time to understand the communities for companies like Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson. And together, we're Spatial. And we believe that the day of static maps is over. In the day when urban planners can see cities change throughout time, where even in your vehicles you can understand the area around you, where your devices become socially intelligent, the day where you can navigate like a local anywhere in the world, that day is today. We're spatial, and we are reinventing the way that humans interact with maps. Thanks. Say it loud. I can repeat your question.
It's a very cool technology, but very cool technology. I guess I have to ask the dumb question. If I want to know what the area is like, which, you know, it's relative, right? I'm going to hop on Google Maps, right? So what is the unique data that you're extracting that's going to allow me to get a different perspective?
So you're going to hop on Google Maps to understand what the area is like?
Yeah, I would see the strip club and the abandoned building. So, you know, it would have to be, you know, a little bit further.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah. So what you would do is you would get on Google, and then you would open up the maps and take time researching it. We're promoting a future where immediately all you have to do is ask the question and you get the answer directly back to you. So you can, like, this is possible today. You could take time and do the research and figure some of these things out, but we believe in an on-demand future. We believe specifically millennials will want this information immediately, and that's what we're building towards.
Can you describe a little bit more about how you monetize the value that you're creating?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have an API request model. So usually we just charge for buckets of APIs. So we do this in two different ways. So we have two kind of different products. We have a real estate and travel product. If you're a small company, you go on the website, swipe a credit card, $50 a month, really easy. If you're a large company, over 25,000 views a month, then we charge for API requests.
Who do you consider your competitors, besides Google Maps, of course?
Yeah, so I think Google Maps would be an awesome partner for us. There's a company in Canada called Local Logics, and they're actually a pretty slick company, API request model just like us. They're doing something a little bit different though. They're using census data, which is structured data. What we're doing is using unstructured data from many, many different sources. So that's, I would say, the difference.
I believe you told me this before, but can you explain your revenue model once again?
Yeah, absolutely. So our revenue model is two different ways. We have an API request model where we charge for buckets of data. So if you have over 25,000 views or 25,000 questions that are hitting our database, then we charge for buckets of those APIs. The other one is just you get on our website. If you have under 25,000 API requests, $50 a month, swipe a credit card.
So this is a great starting point. I can imagine there are many, many other applications for your technology. To the extent you are willing to share this with us today, can you give us some examples?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So I'll also go a little bit into the technology that makes this possible. One of the issues that we found when collecting the social data is there's no way to collect that much data over space at once, right? So we have to get 120 cities running at the same time. And so we built the technology. Every time it passes a city, gets 10% faster. You can soak up more data in the end. So when you have that, that creates a new world of possibilities. The one that we're really excited about is helping people navigate like a local, and it's our mission. But I think there's other things in the future that can get really cool, right? So when you start looking at this data over time, all of a sudden you can understand the emotional components of cities, and you can help cities build behaviorally smart cities. That could be in real estate, that can be even in investment in different areas, unlocking progress in areas. That's one. So I'll just list off a few. Real estate, travel, we have a product in there ready. Automotive, and then AI assistance where you speak and your AI becomes location intelligent. That'll be coming in probably the next year. And then in the future, something around helping cities build smarter cities. I think there's a lot of opportunity there and a lot of value that can be placed into the world. Thanks for asking.
One follow-up over here. Sorry to do this, but I got to jump back to the business model. I want to make sure I understand. So, two things. You are getting that data from somewhere, right? How much is that cost? And then the other one slipped my mind, so go ahead.
Yeah, so where we're getting our data from?
Yep.
I'll just list off a couple of different sources. So we have over 30 different ones, and we're pulling in more. every day. Some of it, we don't even know what we're doing with it after the 30 sources, but we just think there's a lot of value there, right? So are we paying for the data? All this is open, but they have terms of service for APIs. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Twitter, Instagram, the terms of service is that you can use it for free as long as you don't show that person's identity. And we're not using any people's identity. This is not a marketing product. All we're doing is understanding the expressions and emotions in an area.
And then who uses your API?
Who uses our API?
Yeah.
We had a group of things up there. So Ford is one of them. MapQuest was one of our early partners. Okay. AgentJet, that's a real estate company. But anyway, folks could use it anywhere from travel, automotive, to real estate.
Can you estimate what you think the market size is?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a very difficult question for there's not a lot of companies out there doing geographic social data, right? So the way that we look at it is we think we're in 3 pretty big markets and we already have sales in all 3. Travel, $1 billion market in itself. Automotive, $1 billion market in itself. Real estate, $1 billion market in itself. I can tell you, number-wise, real estate and travel are already spending 20% of their marketing budgets in data specifically. So it typically falls in within that. For these automotive type companies, this falls into more of their connected vehicle type thing or in-dash solutions.
As far back as 1999, short-range vehicle sensors like DSRC were developed for vehicles to talk directly with other vehicles. The technology promised to help alleviate the nearly 3,000 deaths that occur daily on our roads. Nearly 20 years later, however, that technology still isn't available. What has changed is the proliferation of smartphones, the speed of the mobile networks, and the coverage they now support. I'm Corey Haas, CEO and co-founder of Haas Alert, the mobile vehicle-to-vehicle platform that delivers preemptive notifications to motorists. We enable drivers in the vehicle itself to make proactive decisions by delivering real-time information generated directly from the source. With all the people, vehicles, and things that we could connect, we started with first responders, as they're involved in nearly 3,000 emergency vehicle collisions per year. In fact, police officers and firefighters have a higher death rate driving to the scene of an incident than at the scene itself. Afterwards, I'll be happy to show you a demo of what that looked like. So, with emergency vehicles involving themselves in so many collisions, how can we do this just over the mobile networks? So how do we get emergency vehicles to talk to other vehicles? To make it passive and to do it and make it work today, we utilize the existing mobile network. To make it scale, we developed a platform of APIs where we can remotely connect an entire first responder fleet, alert drivers, send that data back to a smart city grid, all through the Haas Alert Safety Cloud.
Corey, just say next to advance the slide. They'll do it.
Okay, that's okay. And to advance it for the Safety Cloud. And for this to work, we need a really good team. So our background is in automotive, spatial mapping, navigation. We have sound engineers with PhDs in signal processing and general acoustics. Haas Alert knows that smart mobility, it isn't just about vehicles and sensors on cars, nor is it about the future of mobility. It's right now. Haas Alert is creating safety on our roads by connecting people, vehicles, and things. Thank you. Apologies about the clicker there.
Again?
Yeah, so our revenue model, we get this a lot. So we related just like probe data for traffic. So we're not reinventing a new marketplace. We're not reinventing a new business model. What we're doing is selling that real-time data that comes off the emergency vehicles. So, and when we talk about emergency vehicles, there's a bigger market in play here, which was on the slides. So you think about utility vehicles, you think about tow trucks. We've had schools call us about, hey, can I broadcast my school bus? Can I broadcast, tons of things? There is nothing out there today that allows us to be able to broadcast and publish that data out to companies like Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze. Everyone's trying to get that information, and we're the only company out there that's actually creating this data set, making it available through APIs, selling data as a service to get this to companies that care about it.
DSRC is just around the corner. We are expecting a mandate. Will DSRC replace you, or how will you coexist?
So two things. So we are very engaged at the policy level. So a lot of our advisory boards, we are carefully watching that. We present with US DOT. We're involved in Department of Homeland Security technology programs, so we're very in-depth with those technologies. So first I'd say there is a coexistence. So the way that we work is we do this today. DSRC, based on their own research, to refresh the automotive transportation grid, we're talking 30, 40 years for this to happen. To afford the information, to be able to do V2I, to be able to do V2V just through that, we're talking hundreds of dollars passed on to the consumer, hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, passed on to cities and municipalities. So I think for now, for the next couple decades, whether the law is passed before our secretary leaves office, we're able to provide a solution today that's working. We're in Chicago, Grand Rapids, Palo Alto. Those are Detroit. Those are pretty big cities that are saying, hey, we need this now and we're going to do it. And so our response is, we work with other manufacturers and universities to say, there's a nice combination here. We can give you this real-time data today to bring to the vehicle, and when DSRC's here, we can assist in that daisy chain of that technology. So we're a big add-on to that, and our company, we exist because that's not available. So if it was here, that's actually how our company tried to start. We tried to say, great, cars will be talking to each other next year, we'll just get the data and we'll be off and running. And since that wasn't the case, we built out over the mobile networks and are looking forward to actually a 5G solution.
Mm-hmm. In smart cities.
Yep.
Where do you focus first? And then on top of that, there seem to be other applications for drivers on the road. So as a cyclist or motorcyclist, do you see any applications there?
So the bicyclist and motorcyclist is kind of unique. So there's a lot of apps out there where it's, hey, we can solve this problem. Everyone just anyone who rides a motorcycle, download this app. Anyone who wants to know where motorcycles are, you download the same app. It doesn't work. So in our minds, what we're saying is, look, the market needs a platform to be able to broadcast and to publish. And so if you're on a motorcycle, you're using maps, you're using Spotify, you're using something that's connected, and it's our job to make sure that those applications that you use on those modes of mobility and transportation can broadcast themselves to us. So when we started, actually, so our background comes from spatial mapping and data services. So first place I went was traffic. So we're already integrating data live, real time, into INRIX traffic data sources, which is probably one of the largest traffic data suppliers out there. We didn't get to it, but Ford Automotive is already we're working with them to take our data and put it directly into the vehicle. So for connected autonomous vehicles, is it that important that we alert the driver? Or is it more important that we actually alert the vehicle so the vehicle knows about these things? And the other customer on the insurance side is Munich Re. So we already have a partnership with them, as they're one of the largest first responder fleet insurers in the United States. And a lot of this is local for the US at the time, but our technology, because it works over mobile, we scale to any country tomorrow. I mean, it only takes us a few hours to set up an entire department.
How are you able to guarantee the reliability of service needed for some of these safety critical apps?
Sure. So we're proactive. We're doing proactive alerting. If we had to do lane by lane and we were claiming to be this accident avoidance with other driver technology, that would be a big issue. What we're doing is making this proactive. This isn't a slam on the brakes at the last minute to avoid a collision. So right now, the drivers that are getting our alerts, they're telling us, you know what, I actually got your alert. About a second later, that's when I heard the siren. That's when I was able to react. I had enough time. So for us, we're about 15 to 2,000 feet away on average, depending on the city size. It's configurable. But we're all about this proactive alerting. So you're right, in some situations, you have zero cell, but we haven't had a situation where that's a big enough issue for us that we've actually had to drop an alert.
Great. Thanks, Corey. I think, the number of lives this app can save, India is the accident capital. One person dies every 4 minutes in India. So, this can be great for, a lot of countries. Now, we are coming to the last application. He's also international. He's based in Santiago, Chile. And, very, very interesting application which they have built. And they are tracking the difficult job of bringing transportation companies online and in a region that really needs it, Latin America. But I think India also needs it, China also needs it, everybody needs it. So let's hear from Jake. Voi hoi. Very, very interesting name.
Thank you, Bharat. Hey, everybody. I'm Jake Moskowitz, CEO of Voyoi. To date, we have helped over 5 million people travel smarter. This is Latin America. I moved to the region about 4 years ago to work in the tourism industry. I quickly realized that long-distance travel in Latin America is nothing like it is here. Fewer people own cars, so they depend on buses to get from city to city, or low-cost domestic flights for longer distances, and ferries for coastal travel. Rideshare and trains are also entering the mix. With so much complexity, it's not always clear the best way to get to where you want to go. Here's an example. This is Maria. Maria lives in Argentina, but spends her summers in Uruguay. She buys her tickets online and spends around $700 on an international flight, completely unaware that she could have combined a short ferry ride with the domestic low-cost airline and saved over $500. At Voyoi, we integrate with all transportation modes, and we put them into one easy-to-use platform where travelers can compare and purchase their tickets and make a more informed travel decision. We collect a 10% commission off of each ticket that we sell, paid to us by the transportation company. And the reception has been phenomenal. Local press certainly agrees. Just last month, we reached our 5 millionth user since launching our beta last year. Thank you. This is around $350,000 per month. We're also making around $50,000 in monthly revenue. All of this traffic that we've had has been either organic, referral, or direct. This means that to date, we have not spent a single penny to acquire our users. All of this traction we've been able to accomplish in Chile, a tiny country of only 17 million people. But in the last 2 months, we have since expanded to Argentina, Brazil, Peru, and Colombia. These 4 countries by themselves have a population size 20 times that of Chile. Now, most travel sites, they get their tickets from one of 2 databases, which have already organized most of the major airlines in the world. But for the other modes of transportation, there is no single source to access their tickets. Some transportation companies, they just sell their tickets on local travel sites. Others, only on their own websites. Many have no web presence at all, and some are still using pen and paper. This environment, it's messy and disorganized. It's the very reason why top travel sites have neglected the other modes of transportation for so long. But not us. By being on the ground and local and from these industries, we have been able to integrate with over 1,000 different transportation providers, bringing many online for the very first time. Thank you. By fostering these strategic deals, we've been able to turn this into this. And now that we've cleaned up this mess, now the fun can begin. Allow me to introduce you to the Smart Ticket. The Smart Ticket combines multiple transportation modes into one transactional ticket. Using our algorithm to create these combinations, we've been able to create some of the most affordable tickets on the web and in the region, and entirely new ways to get from point A to point B. You see, at Voyoi, we think about things a little differently. Most travel sites sell just one mode, almost always flights, the most expensive mode. But travelers in Latin America are cost conscious, looking for the most affordable ways to get from A to B, which is almost always one of the other modes of transportation or a combination of them. Now, there are other multimodal travel sites. But most of them are just journey planning sites. They help tell you how to get there. They don't actually sell you the ticket, which isn't very valuable when you're ready to travel. And those that actually do sell you the ticket, none of them are in Latin America. Voyoi is the first multimodal travel site that does both journey planning and ticket selling, even smart tickets, in Latin America. We are a diverse team of expats and locals with expertise in transportation, travel, marketing, tech, and collectively among the leadership team, we've started 4 companies in the past. We're also supported by amazing mentors and advisors like Jeff Hoffman, the co-founder of Priceline. This opportunity is enormous. There are more people in our 6 target countries than the entire United States of America. They collectively travel over 1 billion trips each year. The bus industry by itself is valued at over $20 billion in these countries. We are solving an enormous problem for Latin Americans, but this problem is not exclusive to Latin America, which is why we've also expanded to the European market, live, right now, with multimodal coverage in Spain, Italy, France, and Germany. So, next time you're traveling abroad, in Latin America or in Europe, remember to use Voyoi and save yourself some time and save yourself some money. But ultimately, travel smarter. Thank you. Well, on a smart ticket, on the 50 top routes where we can apply smart tickets, on average it's about 65% more affordable than the direct route.
The platform, oh, now it works. Does your platform also include features like skip-lag provides at this point?
Well, no, we've looked into that. Now, what skip-lag generally does is they'll sell you a full trip that has a layover. And they'll sell you the point A to point B, or point C, and then they have to advise you to get off at point B. This works in the US where there's much greater online intelligence and much more history with e-commerce. But in our markets, a lot of people are buying these things for the first time. A lot of people don't have as much experience buying online, and there's an education gap when it comes to customer service. It would be very risky on our part because we would actually have to, the user would have to know, you need to get off at this point, and you can't check a bag. And if we start doing that, it could get really risky, especially when we know that people are less inclined to read every little thing that we put. So we need to be very careful with that kind of stuff.
And the second one, per country, how much does it take in terms of investment to onboard a country?
Right, well, think about it less about the country and more as the routes that are important. So when we started, we were just in Chile, and the expansion happened naturally because we were already getting search demand to the neighboring countries. What's important for us is to have a minimum level of route share, a percentage of routes covered in each country, and it depends on the country. So we were able to do a lot of stuff simultaneously because we do have a big tech stack. It really comes down to how much effort we put into it commercially. So we like to take the low-hanging fruit when it comes to the companies and also the most important ones and collectively go through each part.